Here in the United States, and I'm willing to wager most Western capitalist countries, we have something known as the middle class. This class was completely fabricated by the wealthy ruling class. Originally an intermediate class between nobility and peasantry in late feudalism, they were mercantilists. We don't see the modern usage of the middle class until 1913 to describe professionals, managers, and senior civil servants. At the time, they were the petty bourgeoisie. As capitalism decays further and further, these individuals will end up working alongside the proletariat as their positions are rendered obsolete by the bourgeoisie. So why was it fabricated? The bourgeoisie fabricated it to divide the working class, to make it look like there was a more even distribution of wealth and not like they were hoarding it, and to keep us in line. They would have you believe there is an upper class, an upper middle class, a lower middle class, and the poor. And there's also a ruling class, but they don't talk about this or want you to know about it. In reality, there are only two classes, the bourgeoisie, or the wealthy ruling class, and the proletariat, or the working class. The bourgeoisie have 99% of the wealth, but only make up 1% of the population. They control everything that negatively affects our lives, the government, and our media. Therefore, they are the exploiter class. Between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat are the petty bourgeoisie. They are not big enough to have the power of the masses, and they don't have enough money to have political power. Therefore, they are not a class. The proletariat are the working class. We create and run everything. We make up 99% of the population, but have 1% of the wealth. Therefore, we are the exploited class. Within the proletariat are elements of the petty bourgeoisie. Some can have the interests of the proletariat in mind, but they can also be infiltrators. They may try to lead movements, however, do not let them, because they will always try to revise capitalism, and they will always fail. This has been proven historically, time and time again, with the socialist Democrats. When they make concessions to capitalism, as soon as capitalism is in decay or cycles downward, the concessions are the first thing that go out the door. Why do they need a middle class? First off, it divides us. It vilifies the so-called have-nots and creates a tribal mentality in the context of conformity. What is actual tribal mentality? It is defined as an extended kin, group, or clan with a common ancestor, or a group who share the common interest of mutual survival and preservation of a common culture. It's difficult to find recorded information on how indigenous tribes of North America prior to colonialism functioned, but an indigenous friend of mine said that during that time there were no chiefs. The entire tribe made decisions as a community. Once white colonials came around, they told the natives that they needed one person to represent the tribe, and this was where the chief came from. When it comes to tribalism, how we see it today, it means conformity. It is a subjectivity or way of being, social frame, in which communities are bound socially beyond immediate birth ties by the dominance of various modalities of face-to-face object integration. So how do we break the mold? We need to educate ourselves on class. This is called awakening class consciousness. This starts with reading the books the bourgeois government doesn't want us to read, communist and anarchist literature. We need to spread this information to others in the form of lectures, zines, or periodicals. Agitate, agitate, agitate. Why is this important? The bourgeois spent years and billions of dollars keeping the wool over our eyes. In order to properly fight the bourgeois, we need to acquire class consciousness among the majority of the masses. This is the first step in fighting the bourgeoisie. Afterwards, we have to establish safety nets built by members of our communities. Once those safety nets are established, once our defenses are established, we can then begin step 2, class struggle. This takes the form of shutting down the bourgeois economy by stopping working. We hit them where it hurts the most, their precious money bags. If the safety nets are properly established, the struggle won't be a struggle at all. We also have the ability to seize the means of production. In other words, we can take over the factories and produce the products for ourselves without the permission of the bourgeois that own it. This is because there are too many of us for them to stop. Plus, if we establish proper defenses, the pigs will be unable to stop us. Yes, I am talking about arming the proletariat. I can get into how nonviolence protects the state, but that is a topic for another video. In the meantime, there is a whole book on it titled How Nonviolence Protects the State by Peter Gelderloos. If you have time, go check it out. In conclusion, class consciousness is the awareness that there are only two classes, one of which, the proletariat, is highly exploited by the other, the bourgeoisie. If you are watching this, you are most likely a member of the proletariat. Once a majority of the population achieve class consciousness, we can then re-establish community networks and begin class struggle. This is when we shut down the bourgeois economy until they capitulate to our demands, which is a dictatorship of the proletariat. The ultimate goal of communists is a classless, moneyless, stateless society that then transitions to anarchism, topics I can discuss in later videos. I hope you found this video informative. If you enjoyed it and you know someone who would be receptive to this information, please share it. For now, keep up the good work, comrade, and know that you are not alone in this endeavor. Practice your anarchist calisthenics, find socialists or communists in your area, and get organized. Until next time.